Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the showdown between the Beastmen, who shall be led by Captain Dreadlocks, Morker the Shadowgave, and the Skaven, who are going to be led by Tretch Craventail. So Felcon coming in with a massive meme build. He does have Tretch Craventail, pretty much a mass clan ESHIN vanguard. So you can see here it's going to be Gut Runners, Death Runners in support, and on top of that he does have a couple friends from Clan Molder, I believe. It's going to be a Hell Pit Abomination as well as some Rat Ogres back here. So not coming in with just a pure ESHIN build, but certainly going to be very aggressive, and there are a lot of Rat Ninjas here on the field. So let's actually, since we're already here, let's take a look at his army. So here in the front, he does have Night Runners. Night Runners are actually not bad against Beastmen. Centaurs are lightly armored, and there are a lot of lightly armored targets they can hit with their Ninja Stars. But yeah, they're going to be getting in there, throwing their Ninja Stars, trying to kite and fight, doing their thing, just being Rat Ninjas. You guys know how it goes. He does also have an Assassin, and I actually do like Assassins to go after Morker. They can cast Trophy Heads on him, and then, for example, Tretch plus the Assassin could, go to Pound Town on him. And you can see here, Felcon is going to be popping Stay here. I'll get Help, which makes everybody unspottable. No, Tretch receives Stock and unspottable, but does it affect everyone else nearby? It looks like it should, right? No, it actually just gives leadership, so it's just Tretch. Oh, okay. We were wondering in the game. I was like, Felcon, I can see all your stuff over there, man. They're not hidden. Because I had a unit, and I thought they should have been hidden because of that ability, but it only hides Tretch, which, that's really unfortunate. It should hide more. Well, I guess it makes sense because he's like the coward running away, and everybody else gets like more leadership. Yeah, okay, anyways. 3 Death Runners in the back. So against like Bastigors, these guys actually could be pretty good, but against like average, like low tier Beastmen infantry, they are going to be taking a bit of a beating, but nonetheless, it's going to be interesting to see how they pan out. Hell Pit Abomination, always pretty good against Beastmen, good against Minotaurs, good against any large threats. It causes terror. It is certainly of terror in the night. He does also have Rat Ogres and a Warp Caster, so he has the Warp Lightning and the, what is that thing called? Death Frenzy, I believe. So Overcasted Death Frenzy on top of a front line of Death Runners is going to be pretty cool to see how that goes. But yeah, he's really coming in hard with the memes here. He does also have Skaven Slaves here on the hill and also some Slingers. So it's kind of deceiving, right? Because this looks like an army. I'm like, I saw this and I'm like, oh, his army must be like hidden back here. He has like stock units, but yeah, I didn't think that like his whole army was over here. But for my force, it's going to be relatively standard. It has Goreherds in the front line, and yeah, Goreherds with shields. Going to be very good against the Slingers and also against most of the Skaven infantry. Korok's Manipers to deal with large, just in case he comes in with Flayers and Doom Wheels and Hell Pits and Rat Ogres. I wanted to make sure to have something that I could anchor on, and the Korok's Manipers are quite good. We do also have 4 Archers. Archers going to be trying to take out those big unarmored threats. A couple groups of Centaurs. I believe I just have 2 groups of Centaurs. Just the standard variant. These guys, I think, are better against Skaven. I mean, the great weapons are good against Flayers and Wheels, but these guys have shields, and they're really good at killing like lightly armed infantry and chasing down Skaven skirmishers. So in total, we have 2 of these bad boys, one of which is going to be teamed up with Hounds, and also another MVP unit here are the Baconators. So Baconators are very good against Flayers, very good against Wheels. They have high mass, they have good armor piercing. Yeah, they're just like a great roadblock unit. The Baconators for the cost are just incredibly solid. I've really come to enjoy playing with them the past couple weeks. We have Morger and a Deathcaster, and that is pretty... Mooger and a Deathcaster, and that's pretty much it. So let's see if the mass Clan ESHIN Vanguard can come in here and surprise the Beast Herd. So I did kind of see it coming at this point. I started to see a massive army come from around the bend because, remember, we can see it all now, but based on the map and kind of some of the line of sight blocking, I actually couldn't see it until just now. So I was like, oh god! And I saw this like big herd of Skaven Slaves coming up, and it was kind of like a psychological thing because I didn't have time to evaluate everything. So I'm like, how good is that army over there? Is there more? Are those clan rats? I didn't really have time to like click on every single one because I was trying to micro at the same time. So I felt like I was really being pincered here, which was pretty funny. So anyways, what I ended up doing is squaring up my army to his main force. And then I grabbed my Baconators and I'm like, release the pigs! And the pigs are going to be coming for that sweet downhill charge with 1 group of Goreherds. Everything else is going to be fighting the main army, but these guys are going to be coming to chase down these squealing rats, which I guess isn't a bad idea because, they are going to be, these piggies now are not going to be in the main fight, right? They're going to be over here just cleaving through all these chaff units. Although I suppose it's still going to be accruing like, what, 500-700 gold, give or take? In the meantime, I do get a nice little charge with Centaurs into Felcon's Gutter Runners right here. And again, a relatively expensive target, so quite happy to catch those guys. But he does surge forward with an Assassin as well as some Death Runners. So at this point, I just pull back immediately because I want the Goreherds to fight. So the Goreherds are going to be engaging in the front right here in just a moment. But for some reason, they got like caught up in something. I think it was the Assassin. And the rest of the force is going to be turning in. All of my Ungor Raiders are going to be shooting at the Hell Pit Abomination. That is the biggest threat. And here Morker was in a little bit of trouble. There was a little engineer, and I believe there was an assassin nearby. I guess there's a lot of assassins, technically. But the Goreherds are doing a good job versus the Death Runners, kind of putting a bit of hurt on those guys. But look how well the Death Runners actually ended up doing this. So some pretty substantial damage. So just to kind of stop the hemorrhaging in the middle, I do drop some Chaos Spawn. So the Chaos Spawn are going to be super good against Death Runners. And the Korok's Manrippers, which I did have in reserve, are now going to be getting pulled in the center to help out here. In the meantime, the Baconators, as expected, I mean, that was literally like 800 gold worth of stuff he had down there. I allocated a lot to deal with, so maybe a little bit of overkill. But the Bacon is going to be coming back in, and we've also gotten some pretty good damage against the Helpet Abomination, so that's good. But Falcon, of course, is going to be pulling that guy back out of range of my Raiders, which only have 115 range. Very short range as far as like archers go. In the main fight, the best scores are doing pretty well for themselves. But again, Death Runners are a pretty decent option against those guys. They have great AP, they're under their armor, and they're actually able to beat down the best scores. So the best scores do get pushed back. Now, it wasn't a pure 1v1. There was a ton of slings and pebbles going and just hitting the Beastmen in the head, but we're going to have to pull in the big guns now. So the Baconators are going to be rushing into the front. The Baconators should do pretty well against these Death Runners here. Radogers are also going to be helping out. The Radogers are a pretty good counter against Baconators. But nonetheless, we're going to see if these piggy boys can hold back. And here in the center, we do have Tretch Craventail. In the duel of his life, he's going to be dueling against the Koroks Manrippers, so he's literally being circle beaten here. He's like, oh god, this sucks. So he's going to be here fighting Koroks Manrippers, which are an anti-large specialist, but their stats are still pretty good. Plus, we do, of course, have Spirit Leeches getting dropped, which is going to be quite pertinent. On the flank here, Morker, the Shadowgave, and his Dreadlocks are able to slap up this Warlock Engineer with the help of his Chaos Spawn, which are going to be desummoning here in a moment. We have some Centaurs in the back chasing down his Slingers, but alas, it's going to be tough. He has a lot of like supporting fire with these Gutter Runners, and my Centaur is probably going to get taken apart. But you can see why now the shielded variant are just very, very good in this matchup. If this had been the Great Weapon unit, it would be dead by now. So back in the main fight, Razorgore Herds still holding back this onslaught here. Tretch Craventail did get taken to Pound Town pretty bad, and the Death Runners are able to actually push through the Razorgore Herds. So the Death Runners being surprisingly resilient this game, doing quite a bit of work. I have Hounds in the back as well, chasing down some more Night Runners, and that Chaos Spawn summon is going to be chasing those guys into another dimension, it would seem. Now in the back, we are able to corral this Helpet Abomination. It was chasing back towards my archers, but we got it very low here. But is too horrible to die, gonna proc, and he does get it, but he breaks it at the same time. So at this point, we're gonna get the Gore Herds, and we're gonna chase it, or try our best to chase it off the battlefield. Granted, I probably should have gotten the Razorgore Herds to chase it off the battlefield because this guy is faster than my Gores, so he might be able to create enough distance to stabilize. So, a mistake I made, but again, we'll see if it becomes an issue. So back in the main fight, you can see it's just kind of a numbers game. Worker is going to be jumping in. We do also have our Raiders and our Deathcaster and the Koroks Manrippers, who are going to be able to finish off the Death Runners pretty efficiently. Worker is incredibly tough to snipe. He's just probably one of the better lords in the game for his cost. Falcon and I were actually discussing this, like, for what you're paying, which is like 14 or 1500 with the Rod of Corruption, you're getting like a regenerating lord that can summon almost 2,000 gold worth of units that do have poison. He regenerates, and of course he has insane missile resist of like 60%, so he's like super hard to snipe as well. Worker is just such a good character. Now back to the main fight, the Piggies are able to rout off the back line here. The Helpet Abomination did come back, unfortunately, so if that thing is able to heal up, it could help with the bounce power a little bit, but there are just so many Beastmen here. I still have most of my Raiders. You can see I have all 4 of those guys here. And of course the Koroks Manrippers, which are going to be good. Tretch did come back as well, but it looks like these Skaven are going to be getting slapped with the army losses here. And Tretch Craventail is going to live to fight another day. So in true Tretch fashion, he's going to be retreating with the rest of his clan ESHIN mercenaries, and he'll be back for vengeance against Morker another day. So as far as the army goes, it's a good army. I think this is like a vanilla, safe army against Skaven. It has answers for most things. You have Raiders for the big targets, Gores to fight in the infantry fight. For the anti-large, you have Koroks Manrippers, Razorgores, and of course some missile fire against most of those big threats. But against like flares and wheels, you just use the pigs. They do pretty good with the Centaurs as well. So it's a solid, balanced army. I don't know if it's like going to be like super competitive, but I felt like it's pretty decent. Now Falcon, of course, came in with a huge meme build and did pretty good despite bringing a bit of a meme build. Tretch Craventail, he's pretty haggard. He doesn't really bring much to the table, unfortunately, compared to like Ikit or Skrull, who are just like game changers. But with what he had, he did very well. The Death Runners 3651. I mean, they actually lasted a long time and really chewed through my best scores. But yeah, it was a tough build. Like he had a lot of slingers, I had a lot of like cheap shielded infantry. With that build, had he won with that build, that would have been quite legendary for sure, because I just think it was quite experimental, and I think he was just having some fun. But nonetheless, it was a very fun game. You guys got to see the Piggies in action, chasing down herds of rats. Can't complain about that. And if you guys haven't, please make sure to check out Falcon's Twitch channel. There will be a link in the comment section below if you want to see some very high-level play. He's a much better player than I am. So if you guys want to see him in action and like see the next level, go check him out. So guys, thanks again for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.